Films is here.
Shut up, Ruben. I heard all about it. Heard all about it. I'm just teasing. All right, go ahead, guys.
Nick, Hard Knocks is filming this week. I was wondering what your
they're
message. Well, it seems like there. What's your message to the team now that that's starting up?
Yeah, we obviously talk about everything. I won't get into all that. What the message is for that particular thing, but our attention has to be on what we need to do. Period. And our focus that doesn't. Whether Hard Knocks is here, whether it's Thanksgiving week, whether it's a short week, right? All those different things, whether they're after a win, after a loss, right? Our attention and our focus has to be on our process, and that's pretty much what we always talk about.
What are Jeff Stoutland's responsibilities and authority as a run game coordinator?
Yeah, I'm not going to get into everybody's responsibilities of what everybody does on a staff. Stout's a huge part in what we do with everything. Whether it's the run game, whether it's protections, fundamental stuff, everything. So we have a collaborative effort with everybody, and you won't get into the specifics of each individual person.
Nick, on Monday you mentioned that getting Saquon the ball because of the playmaker he is. Despite the production this year, what gives you the confidence that he's still that same playmaker?
Yeah, I mean, we look at how everything looks when they got the ball in their hands. Like, I see the explosiveness, I see power, I see all the things that have made him a great football player through the NFL for the last, however many years he's been in the NFL. So, again, sometimes it's not, at times it's not happening in the run game. But, you see that explosiveness also in the pass game. And we got a lot of guys that have the ability to do those things. So just have to find ways to get them the ball different ways and get him in space, and that'll be our focus.
When you see the stat that he's getting hit much sooner than he was a year ago, what does that tell you as a staff, and how do you try to rectify that?
Yeah, everything. With us, we're going to always look at every detail in that, because it's never just. I mean, we played the ultimate team game. It's never just one thing. So you're trying to zero in on the things that are why that's happening. And so we have different philosophies of what to do, different ideas of what to do to help with that. And we know this. We have to get our run game going, and then we're in the process of working through that as a staff, working through that as players, because we know we want to be a balanced attack.
Nick, when a team is as aggressive as the Bears are getting takeaways, does that change how you do things? Do you need to stay aggressive, or do you try to be more careful? How do you approach that?
Yeah, obviously we think about the ball an awful lot. I believe they're number one in the NFL in takeaways, and we're number one in the NFL in giveaways. And so, in a positive way, obviously, and so that's always on our mind. That's always on our focus. You be just as aggressive as you always would be, knowing where their playmakers are, and where they're doing a really good job of catching the football. And so you got to be really on point. It's like, I know everyone will be like, well, then Jalen's got to do this. No, it's on everybody, right? It's about our receivers being on point with their break points, their route discipline, right? The protection being clean. All right, the back getting out into the check down in an appropriate time after the protection, and then Jalen, reading the coverages, seeing where the guys are. But I take my hat off to them, because they do a good job when they have the ability to touch the football. They do a good job of catching the football, and that's always hard for a defense, because the quarterback's not throwing it to you. I've seen some really good plays that they've made on the football, and so that's on everybody's responsibility. Coaches, again, putting guys in positions to succeed against different looks. So everybody has a hand in this thing on the way that's going.
Devontae is on the injury report with a couple injuries. Did that happen on the sideline catch?
I don't know exactly what play that happened on, but let's talk about that sideline catch. That play he made that look so easy. The way he caught that, you're talking about the deep one?
Yeah.
That was one of the most. It looked. I feel like it didn't look. It looked spectacular to me, but he made it look like it was just this spectacular play. It looked so easy. The way he kind of And I thought it was a really good ball of Jalen putting it back away from where the safety was coming over from. And then the way he just adjusted to it effortlessly and caught it, and then kind of, I think you're asking me that because he kind of got folded back and then landed on his feet. Like this guy, you know, we got some phenomenal athletes on this football team, but this guy is man, yeah.
Couple more? Last year, we saw CJ's emotion. Is that something on your radar on Friday? And is it something, I guess, what's the thought going into it with CJ?
Yeah, you know, I love CJ. You know, we've had some great times together. You know, been to one Super Bowl together, won another one together. I always loved the emotion that he played with, and you know how he went about his business. And so, yeah, I miss him, and you know, and he's playing good football.
With the pre-snap stuff, Nick, coming off a week where it was probably, as you say, things that take no talent, a little bit higher. How do you handle that in the ensuing week? Is it consistency, or is it amped up a little bit?
I mean, you ask the guys. I mean, it's always amped up. Any of these things that, you know, we'll talk about those things every meeting, and so it's always amped up, and you're always just looking for ways to fix it. And you first have to look yourself in the mirror. How can we fix it? And we have some ideas on how to fix it as coaches, and then you know how the players fix it as players. So that's always on our mind. And I don't think it's possible to amp it up anymore because it's already pretty amped up.
Last one?
Before the Friday night Brazil game, you spoke about how excited you were for Friday Night Lights. And while this game's starting at 3, a lot of it's going to be under the lights. So what is your excitement level for Friday Night Lights at the Link on a holiday weekend?
You know, I was like to open the season, so it was like during high school football time, which I know high school football is winding down. I think it's cool, just the Thanksgiving thing. You know, you grow up. Again, your focus and your preparation is the same no matter what. But you grow up watching, you know, television and watching football with your family and your loved ones on Thanksgiving. Now this is a little different. It's on the Friday after Thanksgiving. But I think that's always cool because you got, you know, so many people that have that as a dear memory for them of what, you know, or maybe I'm overhyping that because I grew up in a football household, but we loved that. You know, we loved College Bowl. You know, I remember we had to drag this huge when all the college games were on New Year's Day. We had to drag this huge TV down. Not huge. It was just a really heavy TV downstairs, so you could watch the Rose Bowl at the same time you were watching the Sugar Bowl or whatever the heck it was. And that's kind of the memory I have of that, but also the memory I have of you know, growing up watching football on Thanksgiving as well. So it's pretty cool.
Thanks, folks.